Hello and welcome to Sightseeing. I'm your host, Nicholas B. Displayed. In this episode, we're going to view the sights of Los Santos and the surrounding area. But a sightseeing trip isn't complete unless you...
Goodbye!
Thanks, Ray. Now that that's out of the way, I make my way to the beach where I take a dip in the water while observing the coastline and all the coast inhabitants, admiring the city sky, letting the water just flow around me, being one with Mother Ocean. After some time, I realized that the public beach is no place to sightsee. There are far too many distractions, and I can't seem to focus on the true beauty of the landscape. Knowing this, I take a walk into the woods, into the mountains, more accurately, where I witness the sun peeking its head through the clouds, and I observe the mountains, which resemble gumdrops left in a car over the summer, and then found the following winter, having melted together and becoming a black blob, and then freezing into one big lump mass of goop. I then find myself compelled by a force unknown to me to simply stare at the dirt. Walking down the mountain, I take a stumble and wake up in a desert, alone with nothing but the wind and insects chirping and a lone crow calling in the sky. Later I hear some animals making racket and stuff. Don't know what they're doing. There they are. Sounds like a coyote. So later, as I'm blazing down the highway, I find myself distracted by the mountain on the left. Oh dear. After waking up from my nap, I find a group of people who also find the public beach to be too crowded. I make my way to the coastline and dip my shoes into the water and let the water caress them as I stare out into the big blue ocean and listen to the seagulls. I wonder to myself, would my life be different if I too were a gull? I also wonder, do my newfound friends have the same feelings? After pondering this for a while, I take a walk back into the woods, where I once again breathe in that country air, let the evergreen trees fill my senses, and just stare off into the abyss, peering around at all the beautiful trees and hillsides. I continue my hike, and as I hike, I begin to get thirsty. So I take a respite next to a quiet river. I sit upon the riverbed and just relax and watch the currents flow. Later on down the river, I see a brook where I find myself a drink, because you know still water is bad and running water is good. Having later realized that I am no longer blazed, I head to the pier where I prepare to roll a spliff. While doing this, I simply stand and watch the sunset and listen to the waves flapping like a baby bird taking its first flight. Hours pass that seem like moments, and now I'm ready to blaze. But unfortunately, I blaze too hard and re-awake on the beach at night. I admire the Ferris wheel for a minute, and then go on a drive while getting mesmerized by the moon as it pokes its way through the clouds. It compels me to climb on top of the Vinewood sign and view the city in all its splendor. I stand there admiring the city lights and the beautiful night sky and think there's not a moment more perfect than this one. Unfortunately, the Vinewood sign is wet.
I'm healing. I got a definite incredible